Boop boop boo doo doo. Hello everybody, welcome to Xucaboa 100% Vanilla Baby, episode number 12. As always, I'd like to begin by thanking new supporters of the channel. Thank you, gracias, obrigado, to Melissa Leigh, Felipe Nunes Christofi, Alexander Leppert, Delroy Clarke, and Herald Anthony Torres. If your name has not been mentioned, and it should have been, please leave a comment. Something will be named for you. I can't always see who my subscribers are, I think because of privacy settings or something. So just leave a comment and I promise you'll get some building named after you in the following episode. For those who are new to the channel, I will occasionally include photos of my cat Xuca, like this one of her attacking a fly. Just to keep it a little interesting. Xuca is my cat. This city is named in her honor. So there we go. Let's take a quick flyover the area we worked on last time. Our high-density European zone. Still very happy with how it looked, but you see these two buildings here have changed their appearance when they leveled up, which I didn't quite expect. I thought they stayed in one of the two shapes that a 4x4 can come in. So we'll make all the rest that we like into historical buildings, so they don't change their appearance when they level up. And we'll get rid of those two. Regrow them so that they're both that T shape. The one on the right here is the T, and then the standalone, we called it last time. We'll wait and see, but there we go. Now that looks like a very deliberate block, the way I wanted. We've got some work to do up here in Canal Heights still in this area. Future train station over here, but we don't have trains yet, so for now we'll work on this original area of the city. This thing I always thought looked kind of like a beetle with its wings and the plazas as its head. So first off, let's get rid of this building. That's just hideous. Really an ugly looking building. We'll clean up some of these things that have grown in the periphery just really quick. What I'm going to be focusing on in this episode is upgrading some of the zoning and adding some more infrastructure. So I want to move the police department over onto Xuqinha Avenue, the OHAD police department. We'll get rid of one of these Sally's buildings because we've got two. And that one's got kind of a bigger parking lot. So we'll put the police station there. It's the same size. And there we go. OHAD Police Department is now on Xuqinha Avenue. So we can clean up this all this detailing that was done around it, because now things are going to change. We don't need the same detailing. And we'll get ready to move the Abu Volunteer Fire Department over into this 45-degree angle street here. Just make a little cul-de-sac for it for the moment. And my thought is I'm going to add an intercity bus station centered on the plaza here. And so when buses come into the city, this will be where they enter. This will be the first named building for this episode, and we'll name it the Melissa Intercity Bus Station. But the idea being that this will be like a bus hub. You can use all of those platforms, I guess, as bus stops. So we'll use those now instead of in front of the fire department. And I've got kind of an idea for how to make a bus network. But first let's start upgrading some of our roads around this area, because now there's going to be more buses, which means more traffic. This is, I confess, not the most efficient setup, I think, having these two plazas with the streets going there, and then, like, I don't know, I feel like there's a lot of junctions here for what's going to be a high traffic area. So we'll do the best we can. I'm not going to rearrange this neighborhood. I like the way it turned out in the beginning, but with density comes traffic, and so we have to kind of manage it as it grows. Right now, for the bus network, I'm thinking to do express buses from the, I don't know, the faraway neighborhoods. Like Canal here, we'll call this the Xuqinha Center Canal Express bus line. And that'll just have the two stops, the one at the bus station and the one in Canal. We'll do the same here for the MTI, the Marcio Technology Institute. That will be just a XQC to MTI Express. All right, so we're getting these like long branches that'll pull people to this hub from far away. We'll do another one here for at the plaza at Farmington Village. We'll call this the Farmington Village Express. And maybe one more, I think, over here by the... no, we don't need anything there. That's still too close to Canal. We'll put one over here by Canal Sala de Jogos building. The Agronomia building. So we'll call this Sala de Jogos Express. But let me actually make that a capital D. Otherwise it looks like salad. Not salad jogos. It's Sala de Jogos. Alright, so we did that. And now we're going to start entering some local bus. Alright, so the idea is that the local buses will go in a circle, in a circuit around a neighborhood, and bring people in that neighborhood to the express bus stop. And then the express bus can take them to the hub. This one Xuqinha Center local will be the exception, as that it will also have a stop at the hub. But here we'll add a local stop for this area. And what I'm really trying to do is just have it be a good circuit, have the bus always on, you know, the same side of the street. I don't want them winding around too much. Just a simple circuit that covers most of the blocks in the neighborhood. We'll call this the Twisterville local. And I'm gonna color all these local buses a little bit lighter blue, just to kind of differentiate them from the express buses. In the Canal District, I don't know, it's pretty tight right there. The plaza is a natural gathering spot. We'll throw one by the cemetery. We'll stop in Canal Heights by that sidewalk. We'll go by the ferry stop, and then we'll finish it. And this will be the Canal local. Next, I think we'll do in the Farmington Village area. We'll hit, you know, as many blocks as we can while trying to keep it organized. Because this is still a pretty small town, and we have a lot of policies in place that will prevent people from taking their cars. I think we have a pretty good network, but buses themselves cause quite a bit of traffic too, so we want to kind of keep it contained to a smart area. We'll call that the local there. Can't forget about in the fish area, I made a stop in front of Muhammad Playground, which is kind of the outskirts of Farmington Village. So I think that's enough buses for now, and we'll wait and see how that plays out. The buses still have to dispatch and head all over the city. So there's always a little bit of traffic and confusion when you first set up new bus lines because they all come out at once, but then they spread themselves out over time. Now I'm thinking that since we had that twister that one time, that tornado, we had no way to evacuate any of our citizens. So looking at this hill with the compass on top of it, I think it's a great place for an emergency shelter. And we'll call this the Felipe Emergency Shelter. Alright, and with this, it looks like the bunker goes right into the hill, which I think is a cool look. We'll add an evacuation route that sends that bus to the plaza in front of the bus hub. So this way people can, hopefully, you know, if there's an emergency, they'll take their buses to the Melissa Intercity bus station and then transfer to the, I think there's 10 buses that come out of the emergency shelter, the large one. So they can grab a bus there and go there. I could add small shelters in other places in the city, but I don't want to do that yet. We'll just stick with one. I want to keep these two buildings, the English Music Diner and this car wash. I think they're kind of neat, but this block, I'm going to get rid of the rest. Remove some of this detailing I've done. And as we start to add some density to this area, I'm thinking of adding some special buildings. I think the first one I want to put in is a road maintenance depot, because it's big, but it's not huge, you know, and it's actually only a few stories tall. So I think that'll be a good look. I don't want anything to grow above more than like 4 or 5 floors in this with this new, I guess it's not an expansion, but upgrading this area into a more dense area. I still want it to be quite small in terms of scale. I don't want anything too big. So I think this is a great unique building, or I guess it's not a unique building, but a special building, a service building that fits in with the theme that I'm trying to do. So we'll put that right there, and this, yeah, see, it looks quite nice. This I think we'll name the Alexander Road Maintenance Depot. Our third named item today. And there, now we're starting to get kind of like a commercial center, even though that's not a commercial building. It really looks commercial, even at that little cafe in the corner. A little cafeteria maybe. But we'll add some offices here, just behind it, see what grows. And I'm going to start using a little bit of time lapses when things are growing, just to speed things up. It can take a while. I don't like that those two buildings are the same, so we'll try to rezone this, make it grow a little bit differently, see what we get. And let's see, this one. Let's take a look at this. It's kind of big. It's not that big, but it's kind of big. I think we'll get rid of it. I don't want anything too huge. So, alright, let's use that. It's the same, but it's the inverse color scheme. It's like brown and tan and brown. And I'll start doing the same with some buildings in the main street here. Bump them up either to an office or to a high density commercial. We'll see what grows. I don't have a specific building in mind. I just want to see what kind of looks good. It's not too tall. It lines up nicely with the buildings next to it. And now next to Albert Green's house, and on this block with Historic Hickory House, we'll start thinking about some higher zoning. But Albert Green's house and Historic Hickory House will not change. They will always be there. So yeah, as these types of buildings grow, I think we'll keep them. I think that looks quite nice. All right, so now we're starting to get... I'd like to think that this is closer to natural development. All right, we already have an existing city, and then all of a sudden some things start to upgrade. Some older, smaller buildings are destroyed. Bigger buildings are put in place, but a lot of the small stuff next to it still remains. That seems quite natural. Unlike the European district we did last time, which was very, very planned and orderly. Ay caramba, that was a big building. We'll get rid of that. And let's do some apartment buildings on this block, get rid of some of these. I want to keep this a lower. I don't want big buildings on this street just yet. This house doesn't belong on the SKYLINE Boulevard at all. We'll get rid of that, D-zone all of that. And I'm thinking we could put in a community pool. Would be a nice park. I've been thinking about a place to put that, and I think over here is a good spot. So we'll do that. And this we will name the Delroy Public Pool. Our fourth named building, the Delroy Pool. And yeah, the community pool is a great asset. I forget which DLC it comes with. By the way, here's a photo of Xuca after she had her surgery. These photos, they come sporadically and without warning. They surprise even me. All right, I throw them in there, but then I forget where I put them. So there's one. All right, these apartment buildings I like. They're all in line with what I'm thinking. I'll actually get rid of some of these. Some of these low density buildings look all right when they're kind of bigger and boxier. They fit in with the density look. But some of them, then they upgrade. I think the highest level they get, they start to look a little futuristic and weird, so we don't want that. Let's upgrade these streets and sidewalks here. So that there's no street parking on our ramps, and that the Xuqinha Avenue looks a little bit nicer. And we'll just take a look, see how things are doing. I am curious to know how cyclists are moving around the city, because we do have a bicycle network. So let's take a look. Looks like nobody's going towards Farmington Village. And there's a street that goes right to the high school from the plaza. So I think we'll upgrade that street to have bicycle lanes. I think that's important. I think that will get a lot of use. Uh-oh, we got a little bit of garbage piling up. How's our processing? Getting close. We're in the yellow. So next episode, I think we're going to have to add some more waste infrastructure. While I'm thinking about it, I'm going to add a tsunami warning buoy and an earthquake sensor. I don't know if the placement of these has to be anywhere specific in order to work better. I think you just put them somewhere and they work. No matter where you know, it's 100% coverage no matter where you put them, but I'll just put them there for right now so it makes sense. And we'll add a fire watch tower here. We'll name it for Herald. We'll call it the Herald Xuqinha Beach Fire... No, we'll call it the Fire Watch. And that's quite a tall building downtown, and I think it has kind of a cool look. It stands out. It's overlooking the palm tree beach, the jungle-ish beach that we got going on there. So it's kind of cool. But now that I'm looking at this traffic, we've got some of these farm vehicles piling up on Xuqinha Avenue. I don't know if I like that. Maybe if I bump this up to have a bus lane, to be a 6-lane road with bus lanes, that will help, because we have a lot of bus traffic coming in this area. You look around, there's tons of buses. Maybe that will help. Our traffic is still at 90%, but this intersection here, where all the buses are coming out, is definitely going to be tricky. I can see that backing up if we're not careful. So maybe we'll just try to put a stoplight there and see if it works well with the other stoplight. I'm not sure. So we'll just look at it for a moment here. Just observe. We got a couple of buses backing up. A couple of more. Oh, and then they stop right there. That's no, I don't like how that's playing out at all. Look at that. So let's turn that stoplight off. Leave it as a stop sign. Let them clear themselves. I think it's starting to clear out again. We'll just keep an eye. Alright, I'm going into a little bit of a time lapse here again, where I'm going to start zoning and detailing some of the empty spaces here around the Delroy public pool. Since we're closer to the palm tree area that came in the original map, I'll try to detail a little bit more with the palm trees and bushes and things like that. Add a few offices in that block. Yeah, just simple detailing, nothing too complicated here. I don't think I'm going to add any of the urban vegetable gardens I was talking about, just because this is a bit of a dense area. I think that should be in more low density spots, or maybe not low density, but more residential. I don't want them in commercial or office areas. I've got a thought about detailing this beach as it grows, and I think I'm really gonna get very dense with the tree placement in some places. I like the idea of it being a dense jungle that's hard to build in. But so I'm gonna start to do that in the periphery. But once we start to build in there, if we build in there, we'll take a look at how that works. Oh, I hate that face that grows on the one office. It's terrible. Terrible. It's like a scary Yankee Doodle clown that will haunt my dreams. Alright, I kind of wish that this bunker, like, that the hill filled in around it, so it looks like it goes in the hill, but since it just carves it out, I'll just fill this in with bushes. There we go. There we go. Since we have the compass on this hill, why don't we just name it Compass Hill instead of Future Park? I've got some ideas for what to do with this. This might be in an episode or two. We'll start to work on this hill. It's going to be pretty cool. Now here I'm going to start getting really dense with the jungle. Putting everything very close. And we'll kind of, you know, just as a border, we'll see what that looks like. Definitely a huge fire risk. If there's a spark that goes in there, this place is going to light right up. But it'll grow back. Traffic is 91%. It's not bad. We've got plenty of people taking the buses. But I think what I'll do is where there's a few more vehicles than other things, I'll bump it down to 1 or 2. So there were 6 buses on that line. We'll make it 4. And this one has 7 buses, so we'll make it 5. I don't think the buses are packed yet, so we can reduce a vehicle or 2 per line and see what happens. You know, one of the challenges I really enjoy about building a very organic city that's not very planned in any way is that you get these traffic issues or things. You add something and you really have to watch and see how it plays out and make little changes might have a huge impact positively or negatively. So it's just a lot of fun when you know it's what makes the game a game, is to have these problems and then sort them out. But just looking around everything we built, I like how it's come out. We've got density, but it's not everywhere. It's kind of spaced out. It's not too high. It looks like this area just became quite popular, and so some developers put in some apartment buildings. Of course, we got our Roslyn crew sign here for the Facebook City Skylines Vanilla group. If you're not in that, if you haven't seen it, you should check it out. And let's head to the cinematics. So, like I tend to do with my cinematics, I'll give a quick talk about things. I've got some ideas for the rest of this tile. As you can tell, I'm really still sticking in this one tile, and I want to kind of finish it out before I buy another. I don't know if that'll be totally possible. I might have to buy 1 tile or maybe even 2 in order to finish what I want to do here. But I'm thinking about ways in which I can do street naming. Once a neighborhood is finished, finalized, I'm done rearranging the streets. So if you have any ideas for that, let me know. I'm really curious about ways in which I can get my subscribers, the citizens of my city, as far as I'm concerned, to be involved in the process. So maybe we'll gift out a neighborhood or something, and people can name the streets in the neighborhood they win. Or maybe there's a naming scheme. I'm not sure, but that's coming up. And of course, if you have any ideas for what to build in the future, if you'd like to see something, if you have questions, if you have anything you want to contribute to this video series, then just let me know in the comments. I am doing this because it's fun, and since you're watching this channel and you're participating, it's like we're playing the game together. So let me know. Tell me what you think. I'd just like to say thank you again for watching Xucaboa 100% Vanilla Baby, episode number 12. And I will see you next time.